If a population could be bipolar, it would be Kansas City, Missouri. Every census, it's a different story. They gain, then they lose a bunch, and then they gain a little. Right now, it's looking like this is a lose-a-lot decade. Since the 2020 census, the city itself, not the entire metro area, has lost almost 5% of its population. A lot of longtime residents have had enough and are leaving to other states or fleeing to the suburbs. So, what are the reasons people are putting Kansas City in their rearview mirror? Today, we're looking at the top 20 reasons people claim when asked why they left Kansas City, Missouri. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 20, you'll still need a car. Kansas City looks compact on a map. Then you try and get from Brookside to Legends and you learn the true meaning of distance. Outside a few walkable pockets, errands are a relay race of parking lots. You'll memorize every left turn that requires a prayer. It's a lot like Los Angeles in that respect. It's very spread out. I don't care what kind of public transit Los Angeles has, the city's still a pain in the butt to get around. Kansas City is almost that bad. In Kansas City, public transit does exist, bus network, a growing streetcar, but unless your life fits neatly along these routes, you're back behind the wheel. Commutes can be reasonable in minutes, but they're long in miles, and miles add up to maintenance. Your mechanic will learn your first name and your kids' birthdays.
This is for Ariola's 5th birthday.
It's just Ariel.
If you dream of a car-free lifestyle, Kansas City will gently laugh and hand you ignition keys. You'll have to budget for insurance, gas, and tires like a utility bill. And yes, winter tires help when the road turns into an ice rink sponsored by Mother Nature. Number 19, the weather whiplash. Kansas City does all 4 seasons and not in a charming postcard way. It's hoodies at breakfast, shorts at lunch, and parka by dinner. If you enjoy meteorological roulette, this is your casino. Spring flirts with summer, then drops a cold front on you as a plot twist. Fall gives you perfect football weather, and then a surprise heat spike that melts your pumpkin decor. Your closet must be a tactical gear locker. Layers, rain shell, gloves, sunscreen on the same shelf. The utilities here don't love you back. You'll run AC like it owes you money, then switch to heating the next morning. Welcome to the city where the only stable season is keep an umbrella in your car season. Basically, if you come from a place that has predictable weather patterns, Kansas City might be a bit of a culture shock, like Southern California or Arizona, New Mexico for that matter, Nevada. If you're moving from further west than Kansas City and Colorado, this may get a little surprising for you. Number 18, tornado sirens are real. Yes, tornadoes are relatively rare at your exact address. And yes, sirens will gate crash a few evenings each year. You'll learn the difference between a watch and a warning like it's an exam. Basements aren't just storage, they're a lifestyle in Kansas City. In case you don't know, Kansas City is located in Tornado Alley, a region known for its high tornado activity. The state averages between 81 and 96 tornadoes annually. Now, they haven't had a tornado hit Kansas City in quite a while. There was one called the Ruskin Heights tornado in 1957. It hit Kansas City on June 3rd, and there was 44 deaths and 531 people injured. They don't get hit by them all the time, but the sirens, at least 2 to 3 a year. If you hear one, it's not a bomb raid, it's a tornado. But the anxiety spikes every time the sky turns that weird green and the wind goes quiet, like it's listening. Newcomers pretend to be calm while they casually Google, should I stand in the doorway during a tornado? Now, the chances of this happening are very slim. But if you're new to this kind of thing, just learn about what you should do before you live there too long. Nothing like trying to Google what should I do now when sirens are going off in your neighborhood. 17, pothole season is year-round. Kansas City has a love language. It's called axle damage. Freeze and thaw cycles plus heavy traffic equal potholes that deserve their own zip codes. Your suspension will become immediately familiar with thunk. Repaving and lane closures arrive on schedule, which is to say all at once and never where you need them. Cones reproduce overnight and detours feel like you're rerouting through Nebraska. Even short drives require a scavenger hunt's worth of alternative paths. Now that one comes from a local in Kansas City. She's lived in 4 or 5 other cities, and she said by far Kansas City is the worst when it comes to road closures and potholes and just horrible roads. I looked it up and they're ranked between 4th and 7th on the worst 10 in the country. New Orleans always takes number 1. Number 16, allergies, mosquitoes, and the Chigger Welcome Committee. Ragweed, mold, and tree pollen create a living hell for most allergy sufferers. Now, I bring this up a lot because people will move from the desert or they'll move from Southern California, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, where these things aren't as bad. They get them, but they're not nearly as bad as the Midwest and some of the southern states. I'm just telling you things you should be aware of before you move there. The summer evenings are technically gorgeous, assuming you enjoy a buffet of mosquitoes, screens, sprays, and a personal force field of citronella candles. And then there's the chiggers. Tiny villains who turn tall grass into a trap. If you've never had a chigger in you, it's almost like a tick. I've had these things before. They normally get in the sweaty parts of your body, like right where your socks meet your calf and into your feet. They suck. They're itchy. They can fall out of your body in 2 to 3 days, but if you wash the area or clean it, they can leave sooner. In the Army, they gave us this stuff that you put on it, and they were gone in a couple hours, it seemed like, if I remember correctly. Basically, it's a harvest mite. Some people confuse it with a jigger, which is a type of flea. These are smaller. Now, outdoor fun is still possible. You just need a strategy. Long socks for the park, bug spray for the patio, and the humility to admit nature is winning. Number 15, game day gridlock. Chief, Royals, and everyone you know. Sports in Kansas City is religion, which is awesome until you need the I-70 near the stadiums. On game day, ordinary errands become an odyssey. A simple Costco run asks for a 3-hour commitment. Downtown pulses with concerts and playoff watch parties, which sound great until you're the unfun person trying to get to work. Suddenly, parking rates are special event expensive, and every garage is cash only, and you haven't touched a single dollar bill in 3 years. It's all debit cards and credit cards these days. If you're a Kansas City fan, you'll love this city. I mean, Kansas City Chiefs are doing amazing. Royals are pretty good these days. But if you're not, this can be a pain in the butt, and you learn to be very good at timing and side street navigation. Or you'll discover the zen of staying home. Number 14, barbecue biased and waistline woes. Kansas City barbecue is not food. It's a belief system, and believers eat a lot of it. If you've got restraint, congratulations. If not, the city will test your willpower every single weekend. I will tell you, Kansas City is where I've had some of the best barbecue in the world. And I like to eat barbecue. I like to eat barbecue and I like to eat tacos. I mean, if I see a guy cooking barbecue in a parking lot, I'm going to pull in just to see what he's got going on. Restaurant, parking lot, someone invites me over, I'm there for barbecue. I'm not alone. There's a culinary gravitational pull here. Out-of-towners visit and all anyone wants to do is eat barbecue. People go into different restaurants all the time. They eat a bunch of barbecue and then they're all, I'm going to get something else while we're there. And then, no, you end up getting barbecue again. It always happens. Is there good food beyond barbecue in Kansas City? Absolutely. Will your friends keep suggesting just one more spot? You have to try the sauce. Also, absolutely. Good luck with your cholesterol. One day I'm minding my own business when I start getting flooded with robocalls. I thought, that's not normal. Then I realized a data broker had my information and was selling it like an over-caffeinated barista that had a quota. What most people don't understand is that your information is out there. Google your name and buckle up. Seriously, it's kind of scary how much you could find out about someone just by Googling their name. And that includes your sensitive information too. I'm always trying to keep my family's privacy safe, and let me tell you, it's a full-time job. You have to search through sketchy websites, contact people to get your information removed, and half the time it's like playing digital whack-a-mole. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an identity protection service that does all the internet digging for you. They find out where your information has been leaked and they delete it. Plus, they monitor your credit, keep tabs on data breaches, and even send alerts if your phone number is being passed around to robocallers. Speaking of robocallers, I used to get so many of those spam calls every single day. Ever since I started using Aura, they've practically disappeared. I also get emails from them saying things like, hey, someone searched your social security number. Want us to handle it? Now, over the years, I've tried a bunch of different identity protection services, but they were all scattered across different apps and websites. Aura keeps it simple, everything in one place. You can manage what they track, how they notify you, and what information you want locked down. So if you're worried about your personal information floating around the internet, Aura is worth checking out. They're giving my viewers a 2-week free trial. Just go to aura.com/Briggs, put in your info, and see what comes up. Take back some control over your digital life. Now back to the video. Number 13, the Kansas City split. If you move to Kansas City, you'll learn that there are 2 Kansas Cities. You probably knew in advance, but it becomes a little confusing when you're not used to it, especially when you tell Siri to drive you someplace. Because you've got Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. Kansas City, Missouri is a big city. Kansas City, Kansas is a smaller city. Different laws on different sides of the river means your simple plan, live here, work there, come with paperwork. Insurance, vehicle rules, and even alcohol regulations can vary. It's less one big city and more like 2 cousins who share a closet. You'll master the geography eventually, but early on, expect to learn by making at least 3 mildly expensive mistakes. Pro tip, double check your address before ordering services, or your internet installer will enjoy a scenic drive. Now this isn't that big of a deal, but it can present a problem to some people that really don't pay attention, and it can be aggravating. Number 12, surprise property assessment in special districts. Now, this is from one of our subscribers who gave me the whole rundown on this, and I did a little research, and yeah, it irritates people a lot. Kansas City loves a good renaissance. It also loves special taxing districts that make your iced tea cost more than seems logical. Assessments can jump after improvements, surprising homeowners and renters alike. Basically, they're not shy of jumping up your taxes on things to pay for something. They want to revitalize this one retail corridor, you're going to pay for it. You know, the upgrades you admire, new streetscape, a refreshed corridor, often arrive with an attachment to your bill. Retail areas are particular and can stack sales taxes like pancakes, and the check lands in your lap. It's all very civic and very expensive. I mean, even if you're a renter and you're not having to worry about your property tax, your landlord is doing the math. Now, there have been some problems with Jackson County, which is where you'll find Kansas City, Missouri. A major source of complaints has been the accuracy of residential and commercial property assessments. In 2023, the Missouri Attorney General successfully sued Jackson County, citing inaccurate and unreliable assessments. They also had a controversy over contractors. The county's past use of appraisal contractor drew sharp criticism, and a lawsuit has been filed against the company. Now, because of all this, a Jackson County executive was recalled in 2024, and the new interim executive has prioritized tax assessment issues and announced measures that would provide tax relief. That's all well and good, but the people still aren't happy. Number 11, sales tax plus the 1% earning tax. Between state, city, and special district add-ons, sales tax at certain addresses can flirt with double digits. You'll feel it on big purchases and on a lot of little ones. Welcome to the subtle art of paying more than the tag says. That is one good thing about living in Portland, Oregon, even though we got other high taxes. When you go to the grocery store and you see something, that's exactly how much it is. Want to buy a computer for $3,000? It's $3,000. If you work in Kansas City, Missouri, there's also a 1% earning tax. It's not catastrophic, but it's constant. A tiny piranha nibbling at every paycheck. People learn to ignore it right up until the point where open enrollment season makes you look again. You won't go broke solely from taxes, but they do a convincing impression of a slow drip fee. You know, it's just one of those little things that's irritating. I'm still a firm believer that you should be able to decide where your tax dollars are going, and that's how they adjust the budget. We got computers. Say you got to pay $10,000 this year in taxes. Let's say they take half for the general fund. Well, you get to decide who gets the other half. If you're living in Kansas City and you drive a lot, you probably want to put all your money into fixing those potholes and not into a new stadium for a sports team. Number 10, flooding in all the wrong spots. Live near certain creeks or low-lying blocks and you'll get a crash course in runoff physics. A normal storm can turn an intersection into a shallow river with the comic timing of a prank. Do I have flood insurance becomes the world's least fun question. Now, Kansas City has a long history of flooding, with major events caused by heavy rainfall overwhelming the Missouri and Kansas rivers and local creeks. The most notable floods occurred in 1951, 1977, and 1993. Flash flooding remains a persistent risk, with significant instances reported as recently as July of 2024 and 2025. Some pumps are not optional in many basements, they're co-tenants. Power flickering during storms adds a dash of suspense. Sandbags are not just for news photos, sometimes they're for your garage. Due diligence matters here. Maps, history, and neighbors who remember that one storm in 17. If your realtor starts using the word charming too much, ask him about the nearest storm drain. It's like you have riverfront view with this property, but that's only in July when the rain really starts hitting us hard. Number 9, schools, a patchwork. Within the metro, you could find excellent schools and ones still building trust. It's not simple and it's definitely not one size fits all. Your research phase will involve spreadsheets and maybe a support group. Boundaries shift, reputations are a reality, and the same zip code can host widely different outcomes. Private, charter, and magnet options complicate choices in ways that look empowering until you're choosing. Analysis paralysis is a rite of passage here. Now, everyone's going to have an opinion on what's a good school and what's a bad school. Take in their opinion, but trust the data and do your own research. The last thing you want to do is send your kids to a school that's on the bad side of a budget problem. That's one of the main reasons I left where I lived in Southern California. The schools where my kids were going sucked. Overcrowded, underfunded, and I lived in a pretty decent neighborhood. What's really scary about that place, the private schools sucked worse. Number 8, it's the middle of the country. Yes, Kansas and Kansas City are in the middle of the frickin' country. This is the poster child for flyover states. Why is this a big deal? If you want to go to the beach, the ocean, or something like that, it's a minimum 12-hour drive. Sure, you could fly there, maybe even take the train. This is one of those things that might not matter to a lot of people, but to some people, this is a big deal. Number 7, limited nonstop flights. This is another thing that doesn't bother a lot of people, but if you're like me, it's a big deal. Kansas City doesn't have a lot of nonstop flight. Yes, the new terminal is lovely. No, that doesn't magically make every route nonstop. For many trips, you're connecting through Dallas, Denver, Chicago, or Atlanta because why fly direct when you could tour the Midwest at 35,000 feet? This matters to other people besides YouTubers, anyone that travels for work, or have far-flung family. One misconnection and you're researching airport cots like an anthropologist. Their international options are better than they were a couple years ago, but it's still not a big hub. In Portland, Oregon, we have the same problem. We have a few places that we fly directly: Los Angeles, Seattle, Salt Lake City, Kansas City, oddly enough, and a few others. But anytime I want to fly someplace that's not on their small list, I got to go to Seattle first, or I got to go to Salt Lake City first, or some other out-of-the-way place before I get to my final destination. If you're someone that doesn't fly for work or travel a lot, this is no big deal, but for the rest of us, it is a big deal. The good news is airfare can be reasonable, but the time cost is the tax you really pay. Frequent flyers learn the art of a 35-minute layover sprint. Stretch first. Number 6, aging housing stock and hidden costs. Kansas City's older homes have character. They also have wiring that was installed by electricians that probably knew Thomas Edison. You'll fall for the crown molding and then meet the HVAC system from the Truman administration. Inspections are not a formality here, they're a survival tool. Brick foundations, clay tile sewer lines, drafty windows, none of this is a deal breaker, but all of it put together is a pain in the butt. That affordable list price considered a down payment on the renovation channel you just launched. Even the newer builds can have some surprises. Either way, keep a home repair fund. I'm not trying to fearmonger, I'm just giving you some local wisdom that was told to me by a realtor in the area. Number 5, the trendy areas. From the Crossroads to Waldo to pockets of Midtown and beyond, hot neighborhoods get expensive fast. Great for postcards, less great for your wallet. If you're renting, renewal season becomes a thriller. Home buyers face bidding wars made of cash offers and waived contingencies. If you thought the Midwest guarantees a bargain, certain blocks will prove you wrong with cheerful efficiency. Meanwhile, some long-time residents feel the squeeze and they're leaving. The average home value here right now is $256,000. That is up almost $100,000 from 5 years ago. Some of the more trendy areas, the home prices start right around $500,000 for something that's livable and ready to go right now. You can find condos for $150,000, $200,000, stuff like that, but it's a little more expensive than you'd expect it to be for the middle of America. Compared to New York, California, no, it's still dirt cheap, but compared to the rest of the Midwest, it's getting up there. Well, I mean, there is Chicago and they're crazy expensive too, but the result is familiar. People are settling farther out and adding to the sprawl. Number 4, downtown has a curfew. Kind of. Kansas City's core can be lively on the weekends and event nights, but midweek or late evenings, the energy dips. If you move from a city that never sleeps, expect to hear snoring by 11 p.m. I noticed this the first time I went to Kansas City. Saw a Royals game, went out with some people. Around 10 o'clock, everyone starts talking about heading home. I come from Los Angeles, where people start talking about heading home about an hour before sunup. Even here in Oregon, people don't start talking about going home till at least 1 a.m. You could have some fun in Kansas City. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of really cool places to go, a lot of things to see, but instead of starting at 9, starts around 6:30, and you're probably going to be home well before midnight. Now, I'm sure someone's going to talk about how they go out all the time. Yeah, compared to other places, you're not going out that much after midnight. This was also brought up by the same realtor from Kansas City that I talked about earlier. He's originally from Miami, and he said he was shocked how quick people go home and go to bed after a night out. Number 3, the homelessness and visible strain on services. Like many U.S. cities, Kansas City grapples with homelessness. Certain corridors have visible encampments, and the support system, shelters, mental health resources, affordable housing, strains under demand. It's complicated and it's human, not a headline. Newcomers sometimes expect tidy separation between nice and not nice areas. Real cities don't work that way. You'll encounter people in crisis near arenas, parks, and transit spots, just like every other city in the United States. The thing is, you don't expect it from the Midwest. Compassion helps, but so does acknowledging how it affects daily life. I mean, it affects our life here. There's certain malls that I go to or shopping centers that I know not to take a certain exit because there's people standing right there as you leave looking for money. And, you know, I've given them money and I've given them food, stuff like that in the past. But at some point, you're just like, yeah, this is a never-ending ordeal with this dude. Sure, the police come, shoo them away, but they're back there the next day. And yeah, it does affect your daily life. It is really affecting that poor person that's homeless's daily life and their life in general. But, you know, it's the world we live in now. Acting like it's okay, it's not okay. Now, do they have the largest homeless population? No, but I did find some pretty weird facts. Kansas City has the highest percentage of chronically homeless people living without shelter compared to other major U.S. cities. Their total homeless population is estimated to be around 6,708, ranking them 20th in U.S. cities with the highest homeless population. Again, are they the worst? No, just in a couple respects. But you just don't expect it from Kansas City. Number 2, the economic ceiling in certain careers. Kansas City has solid employers in healthcare, logistics, engineering, government, and finance back office functions. But if your niche is cutting-edge media, deep tech, or certain high-paying specialties, the latter can be shorter than you'd hope. A few rungs up and you're squinting at lateral movement. That means career growth may require you switching companies more often or communicating further out into the metro. Remote work helps until the managers decide optional in-office means see you Tuesday. Then you're negotiating with your calendar again. You can absolutely build a good life here. Many do. But if you're chasing a very specific industry cluster, you may tap the ceiling faster than you would in bigger hubs. Now, for most people, this is not a big deal. You're a plumber, you're an electrician, you're working fast food, you're a stripper. You only have a certain amount of rungs you could go up, and it's expected. You know, like, I don't know, electricians. You can be like an apprentice, then you can be an electrician, then you can be a master electrician. I don't know all their titles, but you get what I'm saying. Fast food, you could work the fry thing, and next thing you know, you're flipping burgers. Then you might get assistant night manager. Next thing you know, you're manager, maybe district manager, and that's about it. Stripper, you're working amateur night, then you're the daytime stripper, then you're the night stripper, and after that, you quit it all and start an OnlyFans. You know, just a few steps up. All right, before we get to number 1, I just want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. All the people who leave comments, give me thumbs up, you're all great. I really appreciate it. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, crime hotspots and uneasy headlines. Kansas City crime picture is uneven. Many neighborhoods feel safe and neighborly. Others struggle with serious violent and property crime issues. If you choose blindly, you could land on a block that keeps you up at night for all the wrong reasons. Research isn't optional. It's self-care. Overall, the total crime rate in Kansas City right now is 182% above the national average. Their violent crime rate is 306% above the national average. Property crime, 159% above the national average. Their murder rate is 35.5 for every 100,000 residents. To give you an example how bad that is, the national average is 5.7. Property crime, break-ins, porch piracy show up like glitter. You'll see the aftermath everywhere. Violent incidents concentrate in particular corridors, but headlines don't label maps. Newcomers who skip the homework will be surprised by how close the line is between fine and not fine. The takeaway isn't panic, it's precision. Neighborhood level data, talking to locals, and visiting at different hours are part of moving here. If that sounds like too much work, you just found your number 1 reason not to move to Kansas City, Missouri. Overall, is Kansas City the worst state in the United States? Absolutely not. Does it have some things that you should probably know about before you move there? Absolutely. That's what this video is all about. I'm not trying to scare anyone away. You just need to be informed of the good things and the bad things. The good things, that's another video. This was the bad things. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Be nice to each other.